Good evening and welcome back to the Behind the Leazes Podcast, the official podcast for Newcastle United on the local TV network. And guess what, gents? We've won a game of football! We've actually won a game of football!
Get in.
Yes, 1-0 against Leeds at Ellen Road. I don't think we thought it was going to come in this game, but it has finally happened. Our second win of the season since, November time? When was the last time we won? December?
It was against Burnley, and I don't even know when it was.
It's been a long, long time. But yes, welcome to the Behind the Leazes podcast. It is all five of us today. We've got, of course, myself, Liam. We've got Andy, Adam, Rob, and Ethan. Gents, how are we all today?
Happy, very happy.
Good.
Yeah, mate.
I know it's not going to be a very depressing podcast, this one. Adam, you've been travelling about again today. Where have you been today, pal?
I've been at Bradford today to watch Newcastle women's play. Thankfully, they won 6-1. So again, Newcastle win the away matches. That's all I seem to know now. So yeah, two great results for Newcastle this weekend. I'm tired, but I'm a happy man.
So Leeds yesterday, Bradford today. You had a nice time at Ellen Road, though, didn't you? Just explain what you had to do to get a ticket and what the experience was when you got that ticket as well.
Well, I couldn't get in the way ticket at the game, so instead of being a normal person and just watch it in the house, I decided to buy a hospitality ticket and enjoy my course meal on my wine and cheese. So, yeah, the experience was great. I did enjoy it, and I mean, we won a game of football. Sure, we scored a win, and the limbs were just ridiculous. And yeah, that's priceless for me, and that's the most important part. We won a game, like you said before, Liam.
We'll have won a game, and we've actually got Johnny, who is part of the Leeds podcast on local TV. Just when I thought I escaped the result, yes, the lads are back. But yes, hello, Johnny. Good to have you on the podcast. Hope you're doing all right. We've got Andy here as well. How are you doing?
Hello.
A very nice day, a day of celebration as well, after a good win, of course.
Yeah, rough. Just got to celebrate every win, haven't you? It's like a birthday or something. Whenever we win, they only come around a couple of times. Well, your birthday comes around once a year. No, mate, unreal stuff. It was just very hard not to get carried away after that.
Of course, I was speaking to someone today who's a Liverpool fan, and obviously a bit of a neutral looking at Newcastle and Leeds, who went, "You're going to stay up at the end of the season." Don't want to get too carried away, but someone else has said it, not us. I didn't say it. I just quoted them. Don't worry. Ethan, we've got you here as well. How are you doing, pal?
Less miserable than usual, Liam. So yeah, I'm good, mate. It was a cracking performance as well as a result. So I'm very happy. And like Andy, I was out celebrating yesterday and had a few cheeky beers and feeling the effects today. But that's not going to stop me from smiling, Liam.
Of course, that's the main thing. We want to make sure that everyone is really happy on this podcast, including Rob as well, who has a massive smile on his face.
Well, you've got to smile, don't you? Because we've done far too many of these podcasts when we could have all probably come on and cried. So it is nice to have a laugh and enjoy it. And as you say, I think we've done it at possibly one of the best times as well, because now we've got a 2-week break before we play the next game. So we're going to enjoy it even longer than we probably would normally do.
Of course, and we are talking about the 1-0 win against Leeds. It was a pretty good game, I think. I saw the highlights. It looked like both teams were performing pretty well. I think each team owned either half, if you get what I mean. So I think Leeds were maybe better in the first half. We got into it a lot more in the second half, and we got that vital goal. Adam, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think the first half an hour, I think Leeds for the most part did dominate. Newcastle had odd chances here and there, but nothing real predictable, whereas Leeds had a couple of clear-cut chances. I mean, I don't know how whoever it was 6 yards out didn't score the back of a ridiculous save. However, second half, I think Newcastle were much better. I don't know what Eddie Howe said in the dressing room at half time, but I think the subs as well. I think all the subs were good, to be honest. I know obviously all of them are injury related, but all three of them came on and did their jobs. And thankfully, in the end, it was a showy free kick. I think it was all for goalkeeping, but listen, all of them count at the end of the day. And yeah, I enjoyed it.
Andy, there were a few Leeds fans, I think they might have been a little bit bitter about the goal. They said that Fabian Shaw got a touch on the ball as the free kick went in. Did you see any contact at all?
No.
Nah. I mean, when I saw the replay, I thought maybe, and then you see the slowed down one. he doesn't like. It was just clever thought through free kick, and I think we're all maybe the same when we all saw Trippier run away from taking the free kick. I was head and hands. I was just like, oh no, and then yeah, well, he certainly made up for the one at Brighton that we're all kicking off about.
Yeah, and Kieran Trippier himself, he had a fantastic game, didn't he?
Oh, unbelievable.
Do you want to elaborate on that just a little bit? Just a little bit about his performance.
Yeah, I mean, look, we brought him in as an England international, and I think if he keeps it up, he'll stay in England international. He's a fantastic player. We've all seen what he's done in his time at Spurs. When we've seen him play for England, and then he's went away last season, won the La Liga with Atletico, and we've paid 12 million for an absolutely outstanding player. I still think it's an absolute bargain. Obviously, still waiting to see the money's worth out of Chris Wood, but he looked to be a bit of a threat yesterday. I thought it was a bit harsh where the referee gave a free kick because Chris Wood had basically bullied the Leeds defender off the ball. But if he's going to continue to start making a bit of a fuss in the box, I think we'll let the money worth out of him as well.
Of course, and Gareth Southgate was at the game yesterday, Rob. Trippier playing well, Joe Willock playing quite well as well, John Shelby scoring a goal. Maybe It might be time for another player who represents England in the Newcastle squad, not just Trippier, to possibly get a call up. Do you reckon? Or
maybe. I think we should walk before we can run with some of them guys, because again, it's as good as it was, and as much as I'll love it and I'll enjoy it, it is still slightly frustrating because we like to pick and choose when we want to play football. Trippier has looked very reliable coming in. I think Shelby, was probably my man of the match for the game. He ran himself so hard. Joe Linton went off, and Sean Longstaff's coming on. I'm going, oh my God, really? I think it's probably the best I've seen him play in a long time. He really ran his socks off. Same with, Dummett. I think Rafinha turned him inside out once or twice, but I think overall he handled them really well. And then Manquillo came on and again just was unbelievable. So, who knows? Maybe we'll see a few more internationals in the future in the Newcastle squad. But if we can keep playing the way we did this weekend against Leeds, I think we'll definitely stand in a better place going forward this season.
It's Ethan. When we were doing the preview for this game last week, you said you wanted a new centre-back, a new centre-mid, a new forward as well, and maybe we could get a result. We've not actually signed anyone in the past week, quite surprisingly. We'll get on to transfers a little bit later in the podcast, but, seeing the way that the team played, does it give you a little bit more confidence, let's say, if, God forbid, we didn't get one or two more players in, or might still be okay?
No, I don't think I still don't think this team's good enough to stay up, just if it stays the way it is. To be fair, Liam, I don't think I said last week that they'd have a chance of getting a result. I said they'd lose 4-1. I have no idea how they've managed to keep a clean sheet. I think every time you play Leeds, it's crazy. You don't know what's going to happen. So 1-0 is quite a surprising result. But if we just stick with this team, Liam, I think it's still going to be difficult. I mean, it's one match, isn't it? But we've only won 2 all season. Look at the bigger picture. We've only won 2 out of 20-odd games. This team needs improving. But they've got a basis to build off now. I think signing Trippier, Wood's not hit the ground running yet. And if all the lads like Manquillo and Fabian Schär, if they can put in performances like that, of course they can build on that. But I don't think right now this team we should be going, they're playing well now. It's worked a treat. Let's not do any more business. Don't be like that. Please get those signings in to make sure.
And, there were a few players who stood out in that game. For Leeds, do you think it was just a case that they weren't very good, or do you think it was because the players on the Newcastle side stood out that got us the result?
It's got to be a balance. I don't think Leeds were very clinical. Dubravka made an unbelievable save early on, 1-on-1. But I don't think Leeds were clinical enough. Honestly, Liam, I think the credit has to go to the Newcastle players. They worked so hard. Rob saying Jean-Joe Shelby, I remember when people question Shelby if you can work hard enough in a Eddie Howe team, and even the Newcastle in-house reporter asked him that, and he was like, "Really? Don't ask me that. I'm pretty sure I can do a job." And when he played against Leeds previously, he said Rodrigo was a maniac for doing all that running. He didn't understand it, but he matched them. He covered the ground really well. They all worked really hard. And that's what you need to do against Leeds. It's not necessarily you have to have the brains about you. If you match them for work rate, it gives you a chance, because anything can happen in a match against Leeds United. They play crazy stuff. And we've come out on the right side of it.
Yeah, it's really, really intense football, isn't it? Adam, with the topic of the way that Leeds play, we have unfortunately picked up a couple of injuries, Joe Linton being one of them. I think Paul Dummett had a little bit of a problem as well. Jamal Lascelles got taken off at one point in the game. You know, we've got a couple of weeks off now. Do you think maybe there might be a bit of an effect on the squad should these players, especially Joe Linton, for example, could be out for a long time?
Well, we definitely do need signs, everyone's already said. I feel bad for Lascelles, because obviously Southgate went to the match to watch him yesterday, and now that he's injured, I mean, his England call-up's going to be gone, so I'll let you, Jamal, get well soon. Now, I mean, to be fair, I think all of them, injuries-wise, I'll be honest, I think Lascelles being injured is actually a blessing, because I think Trippier will get the armband for the next few weeks, and he should really be the captain in my eyes. As for the other ones, Dummett, he did have a good game. Mankiw was class when he came on, so I'm not too fussed about having at the minute. I just hope he's not injured for a while, because he seems injury prone. Joe Linton, he's going to be a bad one, because in future weeks when we need that player to drive forward, the midfield at this moment in time, I don't think he can do it. So we need to get some signs in. Thankfully, we seem to be linked with like every midfielder in the world at the minute, so I'm sure something will happen within the next week. We do need signs, so it doesn't matter how many injuries we got in that game yesterday. It doesn't change the question. We need signs in ASAP. The league table shows it. Yes, we're only a point away from fourth bottom, but we need to get ourselves at the bottom three. And to do that, I think we need extra backup.
And Andy, just mention what Adam said there about captaincy. Kieran Trippier would probably be, the front runner for that. Would you welcome that in the next few weeks or so?
Absolutely. I mean, he's a standout player for us, standout athlete, and they obviously respect him off the pitch as well as on us. So I think he would be the perfect choice. Like Adam mentioned, the injuries it was upsetting to see like your likes of Joe Linton go off with how well he's performed the last couple of weeks. So hopefully with this now 2-week break, well, just over 2-week break, we've got leading into the Everton game, a nice holiday camp they've got going now in the next couple of weeks. They'll be fine. I think hopefully we'll see them maybe back in for Everton or get eased in. But talking of players returning though, I thought Joe Willock yesterday was fantastic. Looked like the player we had on loan from January, and he was linking up really well with Maxi. They were both showing a bit of flair. Maxi looked a bit more interested and was unfortunately denied a penalty, and we'll get more into that later. I suspect.
So, just on the topic of Joe Willock, I'll assume when Sean Longstaff came on, he was allowed to push a little bit further up.
Yeah, I was
more like a number 10.
Surprised he wasn't from the start. Anyway, I thought he would have been more of a shadow striker than where he was actually playing. But grafted, put in a good performance, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does against Everton. After watching Everton's game against Villa, I think he'll make an impact.
Of course, yeah. Everton not in good form at all. Sackrath Benitez, Duncan Ferguson is the manager now. Hasn't had a lot of time with them, so you never know what could happen. Let's go on to that decision that didn't go against us, Andy. What was the sort of context of it all?
What, the penalty?
I'm putting my tinfoil hat on, and I'm getting into me conspiracy theories again, boys. After watching, I don't know if you've caught the Liverpool Palace game before, how long Craig Pawson spent with VAR to give it. It wasn't a penalty at all. Jota's like dodged into the equator, but it was a pen. I mean, Maxi hasn't helped himself. I don't think his reaction quite helped, because it looked like the way he's chucked his hands up, maybe he's in the referee's eyes, has made it look like he's chucked himself backwards, sort of thing. I don't know. But it was ridiculous. The fact how quickly it was checked and over and done with. And I was certain that the referee would be instructed to come and at least check the monitor. But it was just ridiculous. And I mean, I think had that been a Big Six club, I've got no doubt in my mind it would have been given as a penalty. How many times have we been here this season? The City one, when Fraser was denied one, when Addison rushed out at him. For me, it was a Stonewall penalty. I haven't looked at it a couple of times now, and it's just ridiculous that, again, VAR's screwing us over.
Rob, would you agree with what Andy's just said there? I saw the clip yesterday, and I know what you mean with the way that St. Maximin goes down. It looks like he sort of flails his arm up and then falls the other way to the way he's being tackled. But surely it's got to be a penalty there. He's swooped his legs. Flail comes back on.
I know. I definitely agree. I mean, he going down that way has definitely not helped him, but that's the whole point of VAR, though. They've looked at it on the big screen and he's quite clearly swiped his legs away. I just don't understand in what world anyone can watch that anywhere. I mean, it's always the Newcastle. I mean, when we've got probably a penalty claim every week we're going to complain about, but at the point where every other football club is also tweeting and all the fans of every team are all tweeting going, how the hell? So it's one thing for us to say it and for them to go, oh, these Geordies won't shut up. But it's when everyone else in the world is saying it, you're like, well, in what reality was that not given? A friend of mine turned to me as well when we were watching it as well. He said, yeah, but if that was Kevin De Bruyne or something like that, would that have been given? And I was like, yeah, probably. So again, why is it that for whatever reason in this instance, it's not being given to us?
So I think when you look at decisions that have gone teams' way, especially in the top four, today, you look at the Liverpool decision where that was not a penalty whatsoever, but that's still being given. There needs to be, a clear sort of balance as to what is allowed and what isn't. Surely, Ethan.
Yeah, that's the point of refereeing, Liam. You need to have no biases and a rule book that explains it for all to see. Yeah, I completely agree. My point would be, I don't know why they just didn't check it. Why not? Or if they did, why wouldn't we notify that they were checking it to? I don't know. Liam, I can't justify it for them. We'll have this conversation every week, it seems almost. I'm going to calm down and distance myself from my foil hat. I've not got mine now.
Do you want my hat?
See, the thing is, I feel like there's a stigma. It's like, you go into the screen, like, there's a stigma around it. It's if you go to the screen, you have to give that decision. Just look at it. You don't have to do it. Just go and look at it and get your opinion on it. And that's literally it.
It's not just a stigma. It's proven statistically. A referee is so much more like it might be like 90+% chance, higher than that probably, that they're going to give the penalty if they check the screen. That's what it means. Check the screen and give the pen. It shouldn't be that way. I mean, if we go back 4 years ago to like the Russia World Cup and things, it worked perfectly VAR when it was getting introduced. And that sold me on it, that tournament, because it worked perfectly. And things were checked and they weren't given all the time. It was just for the referee to have that final say. Listen, I feel bad for the referee on the field in that moment, because obviously, okay, he's made a mistake and not giving the pen, in my point of view. But why is the VAR why are they not telling him, just going, oh, mate, go have a look at that, go have a check. He needs help from the other official who's in Stockley Park or whatever to go and tell him to have a look and give him permission to do that. So, yeah, they need a bit more of a team effort. And Liam, I don't know. I say the same thing every week. I don't know the reasoning for it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it might seem a bit daft, but maybe the referees are afraid of going to the screen because, like you said, 99% of the time they're given that decision. I've not actually seen a time where they've gone to the screen and not given a decision for something.
But it must be how it's communicated to them by the person who's operating the VAR. The VAR, they must be saying, you on the thing, go check this. It's a definite penalty, mate. You need to go have a look at this again. It's a penalty. He's telling him that it's a penalty, and he goes to look at it, and then he's already been told it's a definite penalty, so he has to give it in a way. If you know what I mean, he's getting told to give the penalty. The communication must not be, go have a look. Why don't you make your own decision, mate? Or it's best you maybe have a second look at this. He's obviously being told what his personal opinion is and putting that onto the ref, who has to act on it. Surely.
I have been rallying for this. I've mentioned it on this podcast a couple of times before. Mic up the referees.
Yeah.
Give them a microphone. Let us know what they're saying. It works in rugby. It works in MMA as well. The UFC have adopted it now, and it really works. Tennis as well. They do it in tennis as well. Justification, that's all we need. And then, sorted. If you want to give that decision, it's fine. There's not a stigma. There should be a stigma, rather, about going to the screen as well.
Well, they've stopped showing the replays live in the stadiums now as well, haven't they? I'm sure that you just get the purple VAR screen now. I saw there was one going around on Twitter before. It was VAR check, and it's checking if it's a top 6 club.
Check club, yeah.
It is just ridiculous. I mean, Palace. Sorry to ramble on about the Liverpool game, but Palace were back in that game. Palace looked the better side. Liverpool looked quite ropey at the back, and then it's just totally ruined that game by giving them a penalty that wasn't a penalty. The only reason they've done it is to keep the title chase more interesting.
And what you see, that's obviously foil hat kind of thing to say, but I don't understand. Like, a person who's in VAR is in like a confined room. It's not like they've got the pressure of a crowd making them go for a decision or whatever. I don't understand what other way, and I'm kind of open-minded to this. It's not right to say that they give it a top 6 teams. I know I've said this before, and it's probably the wrong thing to say, but I don't have any other reason, so that's what I go to. If you know what I mean. I don't know what I put it on.
No, I don't know. I feel a similar point to Ian. Yeah, sorry, Ethan. Get your name right. That'll be a good start, wouldn't it? No, I definitely hear that. I mean, my point earlier when I made about St. Max in comparison to Kevin De Bruyne as well was also pointing on the fact that I think St. Max is probably known more for his dramatical going downs, and he had actually been having a go at the ref all game as well, which again, none of that should be taken into consideration. But I think if it had happened to Chris Wood, I think we would have got it. I just feel because St. Max throws himself down, the ref's just gone, he's play acting. But again, that's the whole point of VAR, for someone upstairs to look at it and go,
well, why couldn't he book him for? My main thing was, why didn't he book him for simulation then?
You would have been off, wouldn't he?
Well, no, he's kicking off was after this, wasn't it? Because he chased the referee up, he got up, and you could see him. He was like chucking and tossing his hands around everywhere, and he chased the referee. That's when he got booked. But I don't understand why Chris Kavanagh, if he's thought it was simulation, hasn't booked him, and then that would have maybe been more of a cause to go to the screen as well. I just didn't to be honest, Chris Kavanagh had an awful game. I thought the officiating in the game entirely was terrible. I thought the Llorente was quite lucky, to be honest. I know he got a yellow for it, but he absolutely clotheslined Manquillo for our free kick that was scored. I thought Leeds were quite lucky to not go down to 10 men.
It would have been last man as well, surely, because he was on the edge of the box.
He was on the edge of the box. I think there was a few Leeds defenders back, and I don't know if it might have been Maxi had broken with him as well. There was certainly someone up there with him, but he's absolutely nearly taken his head off his shoulders. So I don't know. I think the majority opinion of Chris Kavanagh's display as the match official yesterday was just terrible.
See, you look at different leagues and you don't really hear much about the officiating. You look at big tournaments as well. Let's say the Euros, for example. I thought the refereeing in the Euros was flawless. Apart from maybe he's not sending Chiellini off in the final, it was completely fine. But you go back to it's not funny. I'm being serious here. You go back to the leagues and stuff now. In the Premier League, for example. How has it become so atrocious in the past few months? When they see that these measures are tried and tested, things like VAR, the decisions that I'm sure will happen all over, how come we can't perfect it in the Premier League, which is meant to be the best league in the world?
That's a really interesting point about the Euros and that, because looking back, I think the officiating at the Euros was good as well, and it wasn't this conversation every day of VAR, the referees, whatever, which we have in English football. Every week on any punditry show, it's VAR this, VAR that, match of the day, banging on about VAR. But again, like the World Cup that I was saying before, I don't remember any of that. I remember people saying how brilliantly it was executed, the VAR. It was so good. I think it might have had like a record number of penalties at a tournament or whatever, but that showed that they were given the things that sometimes get missed. The conversation of pre-VAR of, you should have got that one, and call for technology. we got the technology in and it was executed well, and that conversation went away because all the calls, pretty much from what I remember, were correct. But in English football, still, we have the same conversations, especially on this podcast, about Newcastle every week about the same thing, about them messing it up. And the answer, I think, is that the English officials at the FA bang on about of how good they are and that they've got the best in the world. They simply don't, and they're too ignorant to change it. And that's the problem at the top as well. Whether it's, I know everyone brings up Mike Riley or whatever. I don't want to like just blame it all on him or whatever, but it starts from the top and it's the training. These guys are so ignorant at the top, saying we've got the best referees and we pick whoever for what game. They need to realise that they don't have the best officials. That's what they need to do. Sorry, yes. Thanks for the offering of the conspiracy hat.
The conspiracy hat. Get that now.
Toon foil hat.
I love it. Right, gents, let's move on to Triple T, Toon Transfer Talk. This is the segment of the podcast where we talk about weekly transfer news, or the lack of in this case. So, Adam, how about you start off and give us the rundown from what you've seen this week for Toon Transfer Talk, Triple T?
Well, in the last 7 days, we've signed 0 players, which I was surprised by. I know everyone here said we're going to sign at least 1 player after the Leeds match, and we didn't do it in the end. Diego Carlos is probably the biggest one throughout the week. I really felt like at one point it was going to happen, but things had just sort of started to disappear a bit, and it just feels like now that if we were going to get him done, he'd be done by now. So I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I do feel like he's one that we're probably not going to get at the current time. Lingard's known has popped up quite a bit, but as far as I'm aware, that the player wants to come to Newcastle only on a loan, whereas Manchester United only want to sell him permanently. So the club and the player can't seem to come to an agreement. I feel like this one, potentially this week, this one will have some steam towards, and I think Newcastle will try their best to get him. If not, though, Dele Alli is another player that's popped up loads within the last couple of days. It seems like we're going to try and get one of those two on loan. I would say yes to both of them. I think Lingard's definitely the better player, but I mean, we need midfielders. I think both of them definitely upgrade what we have. In terms of our stuff, I mean, it's just what you expect. We just all sorts of random rumour. A lot of it being rubbish, some of it being truthful. I don't know anymore. It's just that sort of thing with these transfer talks.
So we've had a comment come through from Mark, and he says, Lingard or Ali, if we can get either, I'll assume, who would you like to sign? So Rob, we'll come to you first on that question. Lingard or Dele Alli?
I used to really like Dele Alli, but I feel like he's kind of dropped off the pace for quite some time now. I think Lingard himself had also dropped off, but then had what was a fantastic spell at West Ham. And I just think because that's fresher in the memory and because we've seen a bit more of him in recent years, that he would be the one I would go for. But following on from what Adam said there, it depends whether Manchester, because again, what Lingard wants to do is wait until the end of the season and then go on a free somewhere and get a massive bumper contract, probably somewhere abroad or whatever. So he is not going to sign for us, I don't think, full time. He's not going to sign a contract there. And it's really down to Manchester United and whether they go, right, okay, we'll let you go on loan because we don't want to pay you. Like, if we're not going to get anything out of you, we may as well not have to pay you wages for the next 6 months. But Ragnick's come out and said he would be happy to see him stay because, again, that's another thing that I think is going to hinder us with these loans for either of those players is all of the COVID situation. People want to keep as many players as they can just in case. But at the same time, I mean, at this point, I'd take them both, to be honest. I know we've not seen Dele Alli, but again, we need help. We need backup. Even if he comes in and he's not that great. I think there's definitely a player in there somewhere. Whether we can find it for him, I don't know, but it's definitely worth a go, I'd say.
Without a doubt. And Ethan, would you agree there? Would you have Dele Alli or Jesse Lingard?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the point's interesting of Lingard's had that year at West Ham where he got into form and he's definitely the more desirable player. But what's not to say that Dele Alli's move to Newcastle on loan could be like Lingard's to West Ham. That could rejuvenate him and give him that chance. But obviously, based on form of recent years, it's got to be Lingard, the preferred player. Dele Alli's probably still an improvement. It gives us some of the other options for creativity. We're not scoring loads of goals at the minute. So, I mean, why not give it a go if it's a loan deal? So I'm open-minded to both, Liam.
You're open-minded to both. I think I do agree. I think I prefer Jesse Lingard, though, just because in terms of
Definitely,
depth on the wings, things like that, we're kind of lacking in a way. Andy, which one would you have out of the two?
Definitely Jesse. He's shown when he went away to West Ham how good of a natural player he is, and I think he would definitely help us going forward. He's someone that can create something out of nothing, and that's what we need. I think Ali is a risk, but again, can bring something that we haven't had. He can hit a ball from outside the box and score. And I think if we got a motivated Dele Alli, of course I would be happy with that. He's a fantastic player, and it's why he's been around the England setup for so long. He's obviously been unfortunate that he had his. I don't think Mourinho was ever in favour of him when he certainly came to Tottenham, and then he's had a bit of a falling out of the hierarchy of Tottenham since. So I don't know. I think Jesse certainly, and I would love it to be a permanent deal. And to be honest, I would be surprised if Jesse hasn't joined the squad in Saudi Arabia by the end of the week.
Well,
you think?
I think they'll fly. I think the planning will be is to sign someone. I think they want a marquee signing by that friendly on the Friday, so they can do a big announcement. Surely they'll want to do something like that while they're across there. They want Newcastle to be a big thing in Saudi Arabia, like City are, and in the Emirates and stuff like that. So I'd be very surprised if we haven't made a big signing by Friday, whether that's Duvan Zapata, Carlos, or Lingard, or Ali. I think it'll certainly be one of those.
Adam, would you rather have Lingard or Dele Alli? And do you think, like what Andy said there would be a bit of a marquee signing before Friday?
I'd definitely take Lingard out of the two the most. Lingard last season with West Ham had one of the best spells his entire career, so he's definitely still on the up, I would say. And he hasn't been around for years. Like, I don't know what to think of Dele Alli. I can't remember the last time I watched him play, to be honest. He's been like almost a ghost at times. He just hasn't been anywhere around the teams. I would definitely take both of them. I don't care which one comes in, but I think we need to definitely at least get one of them in. And speaking about Friday, I do think there'll be someone either travelling at some point or signing made sometime this week. I just don't know. It has to be the start of the week for me, my opinion, for them to go on Friday, because again, they all come back on Saturday, Newcastle. We know that Amanda Stevie has went to Saudi Arabia with the players. You watched the Sky Sports footage earlier on, but her husband hasn't went, and he's obviously always in charge of transfers and medicals and stuff like that. So I feel like the players will come up to Newcastle first, and then obviously pass the medical over the head of straight to Saudi Arabia, I imagine. I don't know, to be honest. I do feel like someone will go there this week. If not, though, I feel like someone will be in around the weekend time. So, yeah, I think Newcastle will get some signs done. We've got no choice. I said we need 6 signs minimum done. We've done 2 so far. So, yeah, still a big asking point for the new owners. But, yeah, we're going to definitely get more signs done.
So we've had a rumour come through in the past week or so. I think Fabrizio Romano spoke about it just a little bit on Twitter. Mario Balotelli, Mark says, did anyone see the two rumours for Mario Balotelli? Surely it has to be a joke, right?
Is he at some Turkish side at the minute?
I don't know if it's
Am I right in saying,
or if he was in Monza for a while. Or...
I think it's very much. I think it's the owners came out with it, who said there's been the interest. I don't believe it for a second, mate. Like say, it was at Monza in the second division of the Italian league last season. And look, Balotelli was meant to be this like amazing talent. He was a wonder kid when he joined City from Inter Milan. He'd been a fantastic young prospect at Inter, and just sadly never really hit the ground running in the Premier League. And I mean, his one and only assist is the Balotelli Aguero. That's his only assist in the Prem. I don't believe it for one second. To be honest, I don't think that someone would be looking to bring in.
No, it seems a little bit silly, doesn't it? I just wanted to talk about players' contracts and things like that as well, Rob. You made a good point on the last podcast regarding what you think or what would possibly be best for Newcastle with players who are on 6-month contracts about just offering them money. Let's say Jesse Lingard, Man United do want the permanent deal. Do you think getting closer to deadline day, it might just be a case of throwing the kitchen sink at both the club and Lingard?
Well, I definitely do. Well, I hope that Adam and Andy are right, and that we will have a transfer literally in the next 48 hours, because I do think leaving everything till the last second of the window is not going to be ideal. But I do also think that even if we do bring in one person maybe in the next couple of days, I still think they will throw the sink at it in the last couple of days to try and bring some players in. And Jesse Lingard could be one of them. The only thing I think winning the Leeds game also, it helps us in the league table, but I think it also helps us in this January window as well, because people who are questioning whether Newcastle are going to still be here in the Premier League and do they want to take that risk or should they not, I think players will go, well, you know what, they had a good game there, and with one or two signings, maybe they'll be okay. So that was a big one. With Jesse Lingard, though, I just think that he already has interest from West Ham, Spurs. Again, I think he'll have interest from probably all over the world as well. And even if we said to Manchester United, look, we'll give you 30 million for him, I think Jesse Lingard will go, well, no, I'm going to sit on the bench and do some TikToks and then go to who I want in the summer. So I don't think it's how much we offer Manchester United. I think it's the fact that he wants his bumper contract. Like, he'll come and sit on loan with us for 6 months because it's better than doing nothing, and he wants his England spot. But I think in terms of his actual career, later in his career now, he wants to go somewhere and do what Aaron Ramsey did and get 400 grand a week from somewhere. And I think we'll probably offer him a basic pay of 100 grand, and he'll probably want 4 times that. So there you go. You muted.
I am on mute. It's been a long time since I don't know. I completely get what you mean. You never know, though. I'd like to think.
You don't know. I'd like to think I'm wrong, and I do agree. I think if we offered Manchester United 10 to 15 million, they may well just go for it. But it's trying to convince Lingard that he wants to spend another 4 years here. And again, if we do stay up and in 2 or 3 years' time, maybe we could be where we want to be. It's on him whether he wants to take that risk or just go straight to Spurs, who are already in the top 4 and playing Champions League anyway. So
yeah, I completely get it. And I think even when you look at £15 million for a player like Lingard, who's English for one, that helps with squad registration.
Yeah.
And 6 months left on his contract, a player of his quality, 15 million's nothing. West Ham were going to try and buy him for 30 million earlier in the season. So wage means nothing to us now.
Yeah.
With financial fair play, the sponsorships that we're going to get. Let's move on though, gents, to the trip to Saudi Arabia that Newcastle are having. So it's not uncommon for teams to go on little holidays or breaks. It's not like they're just going away and just enjoying the sun. They are going to be training. They're playing a friendly at some point as well. I think it's about Friday afternoon. They're going to be playing a friendly against one of the Saudi Arabian teams. Ethan, do you think that could be a bit more of a common occurrence now that we've got the new ownership in, the trips to Saudi Arabia, different countries?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I don't know how far it'll go in terms of how serious it gets in terms of like it's a PR stunt. I think, Liam, it's just to get the players over there, shake a few hands, try and get a few more fans out there. But yeah, I'm absolutely fine with it. If it becomes a bit of a regular occurrence, that's okay. We've got a couple of weeks of Newcastle not playing, so yeah, why not go somewhere, play a friendly match? It doesn't bother me too much at all.
And Andy, do you think it's important that we are still playing a friendly whilst we're going away as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's the FA Cup weekend next weekend, isn't it? So we want to still be match fit going into the Everton game. But I think it'll be a big thing for us, I think, to get the exposure across in Saudi. I think I've seen today the CEO of Gulf Saudi is now on the board at the club. And I think Gulf Saudi has been heavily rumoured to take over as our main sponsor. So I don't know if something like that will get announced while we're across there. I suspect next week there will be some quite big things, developments off the pitch, I think, for the club to do with Saudi and PIF. So I'm excited for the week ahead. It'll be interesting to see what comes of this hot weather training, because I don't think we're ever going to get the same kind of weather in Tyneside as they do in Saudi Arabia, but it's a PR stunt, really, isn't it? That's why they're across there.
Well, it's more of a business thing than the football.
Well, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it
it's
is.
not about the
think
football at all.
The players getting a nice holiday away for a week and getting some exposure across there. Like I said, like I mentioned before, their owners will want the club to be big over there. The main thing is they want more tourism and more exposure for Newcastle United. So I think that's what this week's all about. And then we'll come back weekend after, Everton at home, hopefully in high hopes still, and go and beat them as well. I'm confident we can get 3 points when the Toffees visit the Toon.
Yeah, and like we said as well, it's uncommon that Newcastle have been on these trips before. Maybe it's not business trips, but little sort of training camps away to different countries. Under Rafa, they usually go to Real Madrid, train for quite a bit, for like a couple of weeks when they're out of the FA Cup, quite ironically. Adam, do you think it's a good thing that they're going to Saudi Arabia for a couple of weeks, or do you think they should have just stayed in Newcastle?
No, I do think it's a good thing. But for a start, they're going to be in state-of-the-art training facilities, which is going to be a slight upgrade in what we have in Benton. The team itself, again, it is a PR stunt. I think going there is going to get a lot of commercial deals done. I think media-wise, there'll be loads of newspaper articles and all sorts like that in Saudi Arabia. I think they really will push this one out. For the club as well, I have a friendly match on Friday. It's going to be good for the team, especially coming off that win against Leeds as well. It's more just a team bonding session as well as more than anything. The team will be able to get know each other a bit more, just enjoy themselves abroad. I mean, I don't think they deserve it, to be awful honest, with what I've seen this season, but hey, I'm not a bad person. Have a week off, come back and win some more games, hopefully. But on a positive note, though, I think commercial-wise for Newcastle will be good. I do think new sponsorship deals will come around at some point. I don't know when, but again, as we said earlier, the guy from the Saudi Gulf or whatever it was, I think he'll help the team out massively. It just means we've got more money to spend in future transfer windows, which is another big positive.
I know you like to follow Newcastle United wherever they go. Do you not fancy going to Saudi at any point this week?
It's behind closed doors, this one, so no. If people are messaging me, no, I will not be going to Jeddah this week.
There you go. Heard it here first. Rob, there's talk of different announcements that could be made, maybe to do with sponsorships, players as well. Do you anticipate any announcements at all, or?
I mean, the guys make a great point on the sponsorship stuff. I think that hadn't really crossed my mind on that side of things, but I think that could well be it. Have the players out there all lined up in a row wearing their new Saudi Golf T-shirt. I think that could well be be what it is. I mean, I'd much prefer it if it's what Andy said and that it's actually because we're bringing a new signing in for Friday, but. Similar to what Adam said, I mean, it's like a 10-hour journey over there. If we're signing them on the Wednesday, it's a long way to send them for 2 days to come back again. So unless they've literally got it lined up secretly to go through tomorrow, I think it could be a long journey to go on the Wednesday, shout them out on the Thursday, and then home on Friday. But no, we'll see. I mean, I think it's a good thing that we won this weekend, because I think there will be a lot more people asking questions if we'd lost and then celebrated with a trip to Saudi Arabia. But no, as Adam says, I mean, we've got 2.5 weeks till the next game, so bonding, work on the pitch. I mean, the only thing that worries me slightly with the transfers is, again, I know we just mentioned that Murdad has stayed behind, but obviously Amanda's gone out there, Eddie Howe's gone out there. Are they going to be on the phone all day discussing transfers that they want done while they're away? I don't know. That's the only thing. And I don't want to get to the end of the window and we've done nothing and everyone asks the question, well, why the hell have we gone and spent the last week in Saudi when we should have been in the boardroom sorting out these deals? So I just hope we've not put ourselves out there to be criticised for it at the end of the window. If we bring in 3 players, everyone will go, oh, well, it worked a treat. But obviously, in my eyes, I would probably say that I don't particularly especially with Eddie Howe, and we know how serious he can be and how much he likes to do things a certain way. Be very surprised if Eddie Howe it was his idea to go and spend the last week of the transfer window in a different country.
So with that being said, I think last week we spoke about how it had been 100 days since the takeover had all gone through. There was talk of this month trying to get a director of football in. Maybe that could be one of the announcements. Maybe that's something that's already going on behind the scenes with the director of football working on them transfers with Murdad. We'll just have to see, though, in the next week. Let's move on to talk about the Everton game, however. I know it is still a couple of weeks away, but we've got to prepare. We've got all the time in the world to prepare now. Adam, looking at the Leeds game and then looking forward to this game, what changes do you think would need to be made to just make sure we keep the win? Or do you think you just would keep the squad the same?
Signings have to be made again. This is 2.5 weeks, so it doesn't matter when the players come in, they're going to be fit and ready for that game. Signings the main part for me. Everton, it should be a win. You got to be looking towards the way they played this season. We got to be trying to get the 6 points again. Never mind just the one win here. I don't rate them at all. I think the fact they've just obviously sacked Benitez a week or so ago. The team's all over the place at the minute. The fans are frustrated with everything the club does at the minute. Newcastle have got to be licking their lips at that one and going, you know what, St James's Park against a struggling Everton side that, to be fair, at some point might actually get into a relegation battle, as crazy as it sounds. We've got to be looking to win that all day long. I think the signs are helped massively as well. Whoever it may be, we've got to make signs for that game. And I like to Kieran Trippier, the ones we've already got. I mean, yeah, I'm going to be confident for this match. Again, there's a lot of uncertainty of who will come into the club, but it doesn't matter who at this point. I feel like any upgrade, I think we've definitely got a good chance of winning that game.
Andy, who or what do you think is the biggest threat in the Everton side that we'll face in a couple of weeks' time?
I don't want to sound ignorant, but I can't really pinpoint anything that's a threat in that Everton side. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin's a fantastic talent and can spring up at any point, but watching them yesterday, they just look hopeless. They look like a team that's very much lost their soul, and just the ground so to be honest, mate, they'll probably be looking forward to not playing at Goodison Park. It sounds so toxic and just kind of like peak Ashley era at the minute at Goodison Park, and it must be horrible to play in front. So I imagine they're quite looking forward to playing away and having the fans up all the way up in the high heavens, so they'll probably be thankful for. But to be honest, if we play like we played yesterday, I think we'll run them all over. Given the injuries we suffered yesterday, they aren't severe. Everton just look like they're losing it and don't know where to pick up. I think they're going to need, to be honest, I think the wisest thing that club could do is bring in someone like Sam Allardyce now. That's where they are. They've got none of the players are particularly special. The fan base seems in turmoil with the club, and Calvert-Lewin, he's just came back from injury. Didn't really show a good showing yesterday. Pickford showed that his arms again are too small. With when Diaz flicked header, he got a hand to it and just chucked it over Townsend's head. But they just don't look anything special. And look, I don't want to be eating me words when it comes around to the ninth on the 8th, but they just looked rubbish. Like Gerrard looked cocky coming off at half time because I think he knew he had the job done, to be honest.
Yeah, to be fair, I do agree with you. I think there are still some strengths in that Everton side. You know, you look at Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin, they can be really clinical at times, but it's at the moment it's just not how it is.
Well, it's the attitudes, mate. You can see the attitudes of the players. They're like getting frustrated about anything. I mean, Pickford looked like he was losing his head, and I think Everton I'll say it again, they do need someone like Allardyce that's going to very quickly turn things around for them. They need someone that's going to lay into the players at half time, because I think they need like a secondary school telling off sort of thing. They need a slap wrist and get told to like get on with it, or you're going to end up in this relegation scrap, which at the minute they very quickly falling into this relegation fight. Now, it won't be surprised by the end of the season if they don't get the right man in that they are in it. I mean, Cannavaro, he's done all his coaching in China. I don't think he's the right man for it, and certainly not Roberto Martinez.
But Big Sam, come on.
Big Sam, well, someone that's going to steady the ship. And I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but he's got a good record of coming in for teams like
Everton would never have Sam Allardyce back at their club. It's like the most unpopular manager of the last.
Well, Steve
Steve Bruce, he's a good family man. They maybe want him, but they need someone that's going to keep them up. And I think, to be honest, it's Sam Allardyce or bust for them at the minute. It is. It is. They look terrible.
With that being said, I saw a tweet before from Fabrizio, my good mate, saying that Vitor Pereira could come in as the Everton manager. I'll be honest, I've not heard of him.
I know him well.
But he's managed Fenerbahce twice, Olympiacos, Porto for a couple of years, Shanghai Shenhua for 3 years. I mean, he sounds like a player of Everton's caliber. He was actually interviewed for the Everton job in late 2013 as well.
Wow.
Look,
a bit of history.
Look at the last two Everton managers. They were Champions League winners, Carlo Ancelotti, Rafa Benitez, and now look where they are. That's a club they've had all the money in the world spent on them the last couple of seasons, and it's just been spent terribly. They've invested poorly, 50 million on you know who. We'll not talk about the off the pitch antics with him, but I thought Rafa was the perfect man for them. I thought he was getting everything that he wanted from us when he joined Everton, a team that's got a good academy, able to spend money on players. And he just didn't get what he was promised. Only could bring in Damari Gray and Andros Townsend, who I believe's their top scorer on 6. It's just... going into the season, I would have thought, you know what, Everton may be a threat. And now... even the position I'm at, I'm looking at them and thinking that's 3 points. It should be a guaranteed 3 points, to be honest.
Ethan, do you echo what Andy's said there, or are you in a bit of disagreement?
I'm never as confident as Andy with Newcastle after we win a game. Andy's always jumps on the bandwagon and feels a little bit more confident than I
am the bandwagon.
Yeah, you are the bandwagon. Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love the optimism. Everton don't blow me away. I think their business is so bang average. I mean, Gray has done well. Townsend's done well. Bringing in El Ghazi now, he's just another one of those average wingers. It doesn't thrill me if I was an Everton fan. They're not too dangerous. Signing Rondon, who looks past it now, sadly, as much as I love him. No, Everton don't scare me too much. However, I go back to the point, we need the business in, especially we've had a couple of injuries now. Get the business done, and if you win this match, it's huge. This is like I was talking to you about the Burnley, Watford, these games that are 6-pointers. Everton's now just become one of them. With Norwich picking up a little bit of form now, we've always had a debate of it's whoever finishes 17th out of the bottom 4 at the minute. There's one of those terrible teams is going to stay up. And now Norwich has found a little bit of form, and we always go, yeah, well, Norwich aren't staying up, are they? Well, I tell you what, they've won twice as many games as us. And they've, I think it was prior to the Chelsea game today, they won just as many games as Chelsea since November. So they've found a bit of form, Norwich, so be scared. But now is our chance to pull Everton into this fight and say they're one of us now, and they're in this scrap. And it's huge because it gives you a real lifeline if we're fighting for 16th now and not 17th. There's a little bit more headspace there.
One of us, quite one of us. Rob, do you think we can get a win against Everton? You know, looking at the form, looking at the way that they've sacked Rafa after their poor form. One win, or I don't think they actually have won since September.
It's been a while. I know that. No, we definitely can get a win in that game. I think. I actually feel, talking about Everton's strengths and weaknesses, I think sometimes we are our biggest weakness. As I say, you just don't know what team is going to turn up. I'm hopeful that we've beaten Leeds, we've gone away, we're going to hopefully have a few more signings in. The confidence is going to be there after winning the last game, and that we'll go into this one and we'll put in a good shift. But again, similar to what Ethan's saying, is I still go to the game knowing that it's Newcastle and that we could easily just not bother turning up that day. I think one thing that is slightly annoying as well is, as you mentioned, they were totally useless under Rafa Benitez and they had to sack him just before they played against us. So by the time we play them, they could well have the new manager and they could have a new manager bounce first game back to play us. Could they not have kept Rafa for one more game? That would have been nice, wouldn't it? But
well, I think they called him Agent Rafa, didn't they?
Yes. So yeah, I think again they've got some decent players, and obviously started the season well. It obviously didn't last very long, but I think Townsend is a decent player. I think Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison are all good players, and I do worry that if they bring a new manager in the week before we play them, that they might step up their game, knowing that they've got to impress the new man, and that could be a worry. But no, we've got 2.5 weeks to go. Hopefully, we'll see a few more players beforehand and get the job done again.
Right, best part of the podcast. Let's go around the room for a score prediction. Adam, you first.
Well, I do think Newcastle can win this game. I think they have new signs in for it. I feel like Everton are going to get steamrolled in this match, and I really feel like we've got to be looking for a win. I'm going to go 3-0.
3-0. Okay. Andy?
Adam's took the words out of my mouth. I was also going to say 3-0.
3-0. Okay, so we got 2 3-0s. Ethan, are you going to be as optimistic?
Of course he's not.
I don't want to just live up to the stereotype of me, but I think, like what Rob said, Everton could have a bit of a manager bounce. I think we'll be confident as well. We'll be playing well, but I'm going to say a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. I'd take a 1-1, I would definitely take a 1-1.
Oh, how are you, man?
Come on.
No, I would just
against Everton.
Yeah, going into the Leeds game beforehand, I kind of said, I think a draw would be a decent result. But Trippier's come out and said it himself in his interview. We can't keep drawing. We need to win games. So I really do hope we'll go for it. I think for my prediction, my only worry is, and as much as Chris Wood has put himself about and he's trying to do what he can, we're not creating chances. Like, we're scored from a free kick. I think we'll struggle to score 3 unless we bring a new striker in the next week. So I will back the win, but I'll for a 1-0.
Because Michael Keane will be like our second striker and probably score
okay.
own goal.
Oh, Pickford as well. There you go.
Pickford
He loses Pickford can't play at St James's, man. Pickford can't play at St James's.
That's exactly, yeah.
It's a good point about Pickford, to be fair, because he always loses his head when he plays Newcastle. I mean,
imagine how the atmosphere is now. He'll hate it, man. Pickford won't be able to play. I'd be surprised if he plays. I'd honestly think he'll play someone. He'll play, but I don't think his head will be on the pitch.
Well, I can remember, like, when he rugby tackles, was it Rondon maybe, when we won 3-2, and there was the game where Lejeune got 2 last-minute goals to equalise, and Pickford's all over the place, and he's behind his line because he's getting too pumped and he doesn't know what he's doing.
The last time we had fans in at St James's where we played Everton, he was offering fans out at half time for a scrap, wasn't he?
Right.
He's an idiot, man. You can only play in an England shirt. I'm telling you now, I think we'll batter these. I'm actually confident of it. And I'm also confident of Sam Allardyce's 100-1 on Sky Bet with the fiver. Also, same odds as Zinedine Zidane and Tony Mowbray. He's in good
form.
Wow.
Good manager, isn't he?
Yeah.
So you said 1-0, Rob. Sorry.
I did, yeah.
So 1-0. So we've had 3-0, 3-0, 1-1, 1-0. I'll say 2-1 to Newcastle United because I'm going to be on that. Not with the mass amount of confidence as Adam and Andy have, but I've got a bit of confidence.
We should tally up our predictions on the podcast to see how many we get right every week, like a table.
Well, from now,
Adam guessing 4-0 wins every week.
5-0, 7-0. I think Andy gets 8-0 once against Brentford or something.
I was getting carried away then.
You don't say.
Get a new takeover, new manager.
5.
Brilliant.
Right, gents, that's all we've got time for this podcast. It's been another cracker. We'll be back in maybe a week, maybe in a couple of weeks, to talk about that lovely little break we had, and of course for the deadline day. It's coming. Is it next Monday? It is next Monday, I think.
Will we have our yellow ties on?
Well, we'll
idea.
all be doing our best.
Get rid of them.
Well, if they've got rid of it, it could become our thing now. It's no longer copyrighted. So yeah.
Or maybe it's for local team. Be be orange ties.
Okay, orange tie. Okay.
Everyone, get your Jim White impressions ready for a couple of weeks' time as well.
And your tinfoil hats.
And your tinfoil hats and all. We've not signed anyone. Gents, it's been a pleasure. This has been the Behind the Leazes podcast. We'll be back next time. See you later.
See you later.